you know, because I'm not a confused person. I'm very clear about my life, you know, and basically I did send something to you prior to this interview just to let you know that I came out because of a very close person who raised me, actually my aunt who raised me since I was born. There were two aunts, and one in particular died from breast cancer.
Oh, okay. My mom's the survivor.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand, yeah, but my aunt died from it. Actually, both aunts were diagnosed the same year, and
wow.
Found out that I had, and this is even more personal, that I had a lump, but it wasn't cancerous, thank God.
Oh, you're kidding.
God.
Wow, I actually have a lump, and they tested it, and, you know, but when your mom, you know, when it's an immediate relative that, whatever, anyway.
Both of my aunts were very good mothers to me, very different lifestyles. One, she's alive, the other one, my other aunt, she was married for 54 years, and her husband died from cancer. And she's very straight and traditional, mommy, very conservative. Then my other aunt, she just had a personality that was definitely very colorful, and her first love passed away early on. Ended up falling in love with a woman, and she was chastised and treated so poorly not by my other aunt, because my other aunt loved her regardless, but she was treated poorly by a few people, family and so-called family and so-called friends, to the point where even during her death or around the time of her death, they were just horrible to her.
Oh, my God.
So it was someone who was a doctor that she fell in love with, and she actually didn't even tell her love how serious her cancer was, which was kind of sad because her love of her life was just so upset when she found out what had happened and how she didn't really kind of open up to her that much. But, you know, it was just a very painful experience to her, you know, and dying and also, you know, it was just a bad experience. But the good part of it was that I was there with her, and I pretty much, you know, I've always had a curiosity towards women, and I've always been very open and had a great number of friends who are gay, and I decided to, you know, even though it sounds weird to some people, it wasn't weird for me, and it was what I needed at that time, and I also helped a lot of people in doing so. I came out from my aunt. And I also came out pretty much just to let people know, you know what, just be happy with who you are, and however you want to identify yourself. And if you're confused, if you're bi, if you're straight, if you're gay, if you're whatever you are, just be happy with who you are. So, you know, I actually did fall in love with a female at that time, and I said, okay, you know what, this is, you know, I don't care whether someone's male or female, you know, that's who I was in love with. And then at some point, just didn't really think it was for me.
Right. I hear you. I question that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I have so many gay guy friends, I have lesbian friends, and I love them all, but as far as a relationship, it wasn't for me. Like, being in an actual lesbian relationship wasn't for me. Doing a lot for the gay community. I, you know, contributed a lot of time and funds and resources and everything to promote a lot of good causes in the gay community, and I still do so. But I fell in love with a man, and we're now married, and he's my true soulmate. And if people want to label me, you know, that's fine. I label myself as straight because I'm always going to be with him, and I'm never going to be with anyone else, you know, but I am who I am, and I honestly don't care what anyone thinks, but, you know, I'm just being true to myself, and I'm just volunteering my information about my life to people.
Right. Well, tell me if I'm wrong. To me, it sounds like, as an outsider, someone who doesn't really know you personally, it sounds like you were in a relationship with a woman, and maybe for a time you may have thought you were lesbian?
You know, when I was with her, I was just with her. You know, I'm the type of person, I'm faithful to whoever I'm with, and at the time, you know, I mean, she was a complete lesbian, no desire to be with men, never was, never wanted to be, and I was with her, so, and she's very sensitive about the fact that she wanted to make sure I was faithful to her, and that's the type of person I am, but I was completely with her at that time, so that's how I identified myself.
So you did think you were gay during that time?
I didn't think I was gay. I was in a gay relationship. I was gay.
So,
you know?
Oh.
It's almost like when people say, what's my background? I mean, my background is black, white, Native American, and it's so intricate. I'm not like, I mean, I just never look at things as completely just black or white. But now, like I said, I'm with a male, and I love him dearly, and he is the only person I'm going to be with the rest of my life, so that labels me as straight. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm understanding your psychology about it, which is...
And even, most of my life I have been with men. I've always been with men. I've had a curiosity towards women. I've never been with, okay, I'll be with a guy today, and then next week I'll go out on a date with a girl. I mean, I've known deep down inside who I was, and I did have a curiosity, and like I said, I came out from my aunt because she was treated so badly that I decided, okay, I'm going to come out, and let's see who kind of like, those people who were so mean to her, let's have them, confront me, which they actually didn't, because I was kind of going to let them know how I felt about how they treated her, as well as, what they could have said to me. But
so what you were doing is you were picking a fight, is what you were doing.
I was actually setting the record, I was actually pretty much just coming out to sort of shock them and have them sort of like, I was the person who was putting, pretty much fighting for my aunt.
Like, I'm gay too, and what? Now what?
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
okay.
And I did kind of like get my point out to them, which was good, but I also, like I said, it was more personal, but I ended up doing a lot in the community, and I also got a lot out of the community because I love the gay community. So, it worked out. It was a good experience, and, I have no regrets for it. And, that's basically what I have to say.
At any point, did you say, I'm a lesbian, I don't like men, and this is, did you pass yourself off as a lesbian? Because I'm sure there are people in the community who would say, hey, she made her career based on being the first out lesbian Playboy centerfold. Is that...
No, I'm going to correct you on that. I didn't use it as a career. Any funds, anything that I made off of that, I gave back to breast cancer research. I didn't really make that much, and I even donated more of my own funds from my straight life prior to coming out. So I didn't make anything out of it financially. It was something I did that was personal.
Well, that's a reasonable answer.
What I made was actually from investing. So gay straight money doesn't matter. It was through investing prior to that whole thing. Didn't make any money off of it.
Okay. But you did get notoriety from, right? Whereas you may have been a little more obscure as a... Were you a centerfold? You were a centerfold, right?
I was a centerfold back in 1992, so I had my notoriety, and I was in page 6 of the Post about, I'd say a good dozen times before I came out. So, I mean, not to be pompous, but I'm basically saying that, as well as all the other articles I've been in and interviews I've been in, that was just from being straight. So the gay thing, if I never came out, I still would have been in the media and still done other things, even if I was completely straight and not coming out at that time. Like I said, that was very personal. It didn't really give me an advantage in any other way,
Not being a lesbian centerfold didn't give you an advantage?
I don't think so. It came out actually more than I wanted it to. My personal life out there that much in the public, it wasn't what I 100% wanted. I did it for personal reasons.
Did it take a life of its own after a while?
It took a life of its own, and that was why I sort of just, most people, nothing against Paris Hilton, but there are people who do like being out in the media, and they'll just go crazy with that. And then I did just the opposite. I just at some point just decided to be very private. Minus my lawsuit against the city, which was another big thing.
Right.
So I said, okay, no one bother me. Just leave me alone right now.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
I spend most of my time taking care of my other aunt because she survived breast cancer, my other aunt, but now she has Alzheimer's. So, my private life I totally value. So I kind of didn't want a lot of people in it that much,
Yeah, when you're dealing with life and death issues, at some point everything else just seems trivial.
Exactly.
Everything just becomes black and white. It's like this matters and this doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this now. You're in a relationship with a man, right? And you mean to tell me that it never dawns in the back of your head nothing like with women that just is totally out of your head now? Like when you see a woman that maybe you might have thought was attractive before, you don't...
I see men and women, ever since I hit puberty, even before puberty, I look at people and I say, okay, wow, that's an attractive person, but as far as any desires, no, I don't have that, not now. Like I said to my friend Richard in the Post, that I'm straight.